So I want to talk about the experiment that I'm doing. I'm on the fourth day of approaching people in public, and I want to share my experience with you. So the first day I didn't speak to anyone in particular for 2 hours. I was in the middle of the city and walking back and forth. I was with headphones on to get myself hyped up, and at one point I turned on the workout playlist that I have made for myself, and in 30 seconds I started running. Ran a kilometer in about 6 minutes and breathed only through my nose. And I was amazed that I did that because I have running related injuries to my knees and ligaments. And at the end of it I splashed myself with water and continued back. I sat on a bench for a little bit to assess what I'm going to do to approach someone. A female. So I said I'm not gonna do it with headphones in. I'm not gonna do it when I'm sitting on this bench. There were a couple of girls that went by and I didn't talk to them at all. So I said I have to assess them from afar, for example 20 meters or I don't know how many feet, maybe 50 feet. And it's basically that after for another 10 or 20 minutes of wandering, I decided these 2 girls I'm going to approach them and just talk to them before I go home. I set myself a limiter so that I talked to them and didn't went home without doing anything productive. So I asked them, what was it? Is there something interesting that you're talking about? And they said yes. So I told them why and talked to them so that I can go home. I set myself I don't know, is it a request or a... Yeah, I set myself a limiter to talk to someone, and if I do that, I get to go home. And they said okay, and started walking. I said bye bye, have a nice day. And they said thank you, and I went home the first day. The second day, what did I do the second day? I went back to the same place. I took this camera with me and shot pigeons, the scenery, and basically the idea was that I visualized the same day that I asked a couple of people to take a photo of me. I decided at one place I'm going to go with the lowest ball. There was a person over there, man in his 30s. I told him, can you take a photo of me? And he said, sure. Took a somewhat crappy photo, but the idea was to talk to someone to make them do something. Later down the road I asked a couple of little teenagers, girls, could you take a photo of me? And one of them said sure. Took 2 pictures, kind of okay. And that was basically the interaction. Kind of in a hurry to say bye to me. I looked a little bit not in as well as now. Just shaved here and trimmed my beard and hair. Yeah, the third day it was raining very heavily, so I went to a different part of the city near the rowing station, where I assume it was a homeless man. I visualized that I'm going to ask people to start drawing on a piece of paper, and I'm going to continue the drawing, an abstract one. And basically I stood with that, I presume, homeless man. He was actually in pretty decent clothing. I talked to him for a bit. The weather was going in and out, raining heavily and stopping for a couple of minutes. Birds chirping, having nice time in the rain, and I finished the drawing and gave it to him. And so that was the interaction. The next day, today, my arm. I went again to the center of the city and want people to basically do the same thing, to start the drawing, make a couple of lines with the pen on a piece of paper. And at first the older people declined, which was quite surprising to me. Normally you could see in a couple of videos that talk to other people, they would be receptive, but today wasn't one of those days where the choice of people weren't good for that. But later on I found 2 little girls about 10 years old. I asked them, oh, could you do 2 lines in a circle? They said, sure, why not? Did them. The 2 girls did it, and I sat on a bench and continued the drawing. Finished it in about an hour and 10 minutes, I think. And basically gave it to one with traditional attire that struck something like a violin or something like that. And that was basically the day. I did this experiment so that I can get over my fear of people watching me and social anxiety, basically. As you can probably know, you don't actually grow from staying home and thinking about things. You expand your mind by doing things that you don't want to do. That was my experience of these 3 days of I don't know how should I say it, cold approaching, or just social discomfort. That could probably be the title. Experiment of social discomfort. And yeah, that was basically it. And last words. Tomorrow, I think that I'm not going to do anything crazy, just go outside, go in a park close to water or something, and just talk to random people. Because I don't feel so socially awkward with stalking them right now. There is like something that's stopping me so much, of my brain saying, oh, don't talk to them because something bad would happen. That's basically it. Doing things that are hard right now, but in a couple of days you'll see they're nothing special. You get used to them. That was basically it. Thank you.